AI is a very interesting subject. Everybody has a different interpretation of what AI means. The only common thing is people know it's known as artificial intelligence. What it actually does and how it works for different businesses is very much in its nascency. It is still developing as a science, as an art. What it does mean for PTT is what I mentioned about automating more and more of the work we do and eliminating the ability to, the need to do a lot of manual effort. One of the solutions that we've been working on is actually going into our client system and for the validation of documentation to be carried out by the system. It's effectively automating the audit process. For our clients, it's also developing art. I'm also the chairman of the Travel and Tourism Board at our Institute of Chartered Accountants in the UK, and I was recently asked to find clients who could talk about artificial intelligence. I was amazed to find out that nobody was willing to talk about it. I got one of two answers. We're not there yet, or we prefer not to talk about what we are doing. So AI is interesting. And Kessa, perhaps I should be asked this question in another year's time. We're tracking each traveler. So we will hold limited, I mean, there's GDPR to be taken into account. We will hold limited transactional data, but all of it is relevant to the funds collected. So we will hold data such as lead name on the booking reference number, the date of departure, the date of return, and the funds involved. And any other details we're required to hold by the beneficiary or that particular arrangement. And you can imagine if you went to white goods and furniture, we need to know what goods are involved in that particular order, when are they being shipped, when are they being delivered, what is the trigger point at which we're allowed to release the funds from the trust account. So it's an individual arrangement for every business, but within that, we track funds for every single party that pays into the trust account. So we are that was true in 2 or 3 years ago, where 100% of the funds were held in the trust account. Not true now. In the case of the Czech Republic, as an example, we don't hold all of the funds in the trust account. We hold a certain percentage that the insurer believes is sufficient to cover their risk. The rest of the funds are retained by the travel business. And here, even in the UK, interestingly, the Czech Republic solution is what we are now implementing in the UK. Our regulator has, without knowing what we are doing in the Czech Republic, accepted the Czech solution. And we will not be holding 100% of the funds in the trust account. So the days where all of the monies were held in the trust account pending performance are pretty much gone. That is not to say that we cannot have an arrangement where we hold 100% of the funds in the trust account. But that's very much down to the parties involved, what their agreement is, and what the risk perception is.
If I can just add something to that. Looking specifically at the case of the Czech Republic and the tour operator business, actually it's positive. And the reason it's positive is the old model was that the insurance company would say to the tour operator, we want some cash from you as security for the insurance, which we're going to hold in our bank account, and we're going to base that on some estimate of your turnover. And what we have now for those tour operators is that the amount held is not based on an estimate, it's based on the current actual situation. And the current actual situation in January is that the amount of prepayments is not that high. But in June, prepayments are much higher. So the amount of money that needs to be held in January is much lower than it was in the good old days. And the second difference is that we are paying those tour operators interest on those bank accounts, on that money. So those tour operators are getting, for example, let's say in today's context, 5%, whereas in the good old days they were getting nothing. So I don't think you would find many of them complaining too much about losing the cash flow. Yes, they are, but it's better than it was before.